Hello and welcome to Ecumenical Matters, the Father Ted podcast. I'm your host, James McAnespy. So this is the YouTube version of the podcast. I've taken out some of the material that dates the podcast and tried to make it more timeless. So please like and subscribe. Thanks and bless you.
That would be an ecumenical matter!
Hello and welcome to Ecumenical Matters, the Father Ted podcast. This week we're discussing Season 2, Episode 1, Hell. We're getting to meet Father Noel Furlong, played of course by Graham Norton. This week to join us we have a returning guest for the first time. It is Colin Hassard, who you met in Season 1, Episode 2, Father Stone's episode. So how are you doing today, Colin?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to talking about a better episode than the Father Stone episode.
Well, yeah, the Father Stone episode was definitely our controversial episode because we seemed to make it a very controversial statement when we said we didn't like it that much. I even just watched a bit of Father Ted picks on all four before we came on here, and Graham Norton and Arthur Matthews said that was their favourite episode as well, so we're definitely speaking amongst the minority in this.
Well, what do we know?
Yeah, we're just the fans, man. And of course, as always, I'm joined by Vince Flimosh on Beam. So how are you doing today, Vince?
Yeah, alright. Just tired.
Yeah, we're all tired. I just
need my bed.
Good. Well, hold off for a bit. It is still sunlight. Do you not like the sunshine that we're getting here?
Nah.
You'd rather get the floods.
It's too warm. It's too. I'm not sleeping properly. Way too warm.
So today we were discussing a very brilliant episode, Hell, which I think was a fantastic episode. I watched it about 2 hours before you guys came over here, and it just the amount of touchstone moments are in this one episode. Noel Furlong's first appearance for a start. A few other very important first appearances we'll get to, but just some brilliant one-liners that have lasted the distance. But we'll get into it first. So basically, Ted and Dougal are trying to figure out why July the 18th is particularly noteworthy.
It's not 19th?
July 19th, was it?
You're sure?
July 19th.
July the 12th.
we all know why that's noteworthy. That's Bastille Day, isn't it?
I believe so.
Seems to be a lot going on in July, isn't there?
The end of the Ice Age.
July 4th and the end of the Ice Age on July 19th. And of course the time when Marathon moved to Snickers. Mm-hmm. Do you reckon they did that because just the way it was alphabeticized? That just came to me. Like if you put all the chocolate bars in alphabetical order, you would have Marathon and then Mars. It'd be too similar.
I hadn't thought about that. That's probably a different podcast.
It probably is. But yeah, so what does July 19th mean to you, Colin?
Doesn't mean an awful lot, to tell you the truth.
End of riot season.
Well,
What does it mean to you, James?
Well, it's today when Galway was liberated from India.
Oh,
Finally, they threw off the shackles of them imperialist Indian forces. But it turns out that's a holiday that Ted and Dougal and Jack go on every year, and Jack was very on the ball with that. Did you see his costume with the old timey swimsuit?
He's never had that much enthusiasm for anything other than alcohol. I don't think.
Well, except holidays now, we know.
Like, that's what I'm saying. It's the only thing he's got enthusiasm for.
And he definitely dressed up to the nines. That was a brilliant costume.
He loves holidays even more than he loves them old cliffs.
Exactly. Well, he went off another set of cliffs today, so he must love them. And speaking of cliffs, the first appearance that I wanted to bring up, LARRY DUFF. His first appearance on the show. I didn't think he was this late into the show.
No, Season 2, first episode, he was LARRY DUFF. Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So it was actually Ted got him his phone as well for Christmas, we found out. So Ted's actually like the death from Final Destination, I think.
What was he doing in today's episode?
He went to pick up his phone when I was driving along. It was actually, if you didn't know what was coming, it would have actually taken you by surprise quite a bit, because it was just, he's in the car and he's driving along, the phone rings, and he looks around to pick it up, and when he looks up again, he's just careening off the side of a cliff. He's got a very nice muscle car, Father LARRY DUFF does, but he's careening off the side
pretty
of
well off.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the first appearance. Of course, there'll be many more to come. Mm-hmm. Then we'll have to find out what's our favourite one at the end of the series.
But he survived, it's the main thing, so he comes back.
He's got great survival instinct, so he does, yeah. He's a real fighter.
You can rebuild him. Robo Priest.
Ronnie Joy makes another appearance in today's episode.
Who?
Ronnie Joy, the author. So we had him last week. It was one of the books that Ted was trying to impress Polly Clark with. And this week it turns out that Dougal started reading it. Dougal takes it a bit to heart, all the language of it, the colourful language.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't know, you big bollocks. I know you haven't got a chance to watch it recently, Colin, but what of the episodes sort of sticks out at you?
That's the thing. It's one of those episodes I don't think you need to watch. But I didn't need to watch certainly for this because it sticks in the mind so much because there is so many great lines in it. I think it's maybe the first time that they've gone anywhere. It's been set outside of the Crag Island house.
Yeah, so they've gone off the island, and they've very definitely gone off the island, I think, to go on this holiday. So the fact that they went to the mainland later on, like the season 3 episode, is not actually a big deal, them going to the mainland, it's just the adventure they have at that time. And this time, as you say, they've gone off the island and they're away on holiday now. So we were trying to discuss if the autograph signing last week was off the island as well. Or not last week, the week before, with Polly Clark.
Oh yeah.
But
I don't think it was ever mentioned.
It wasn't, it was just sort of, you were left to
Kind of
assume.
implied, but
Yeah.
not really.
But I would say that would have been off the island too, like that would have been
Say it
in
would
Galway
have,
or
'cause
something.
where would they have had an autograph signed on that island? Like you see the overhead shots and all of it and stuff, and it just looks like sporadic houses and fields and
Here's a big island though.
sheep.
They've got fun fairs, and they've got the cliffs. They've got St. Kevin's Stump. Well, they don't have St. Kevin's Stump, but the campfire does. The campsite does.
And when Ted left the book signing, they were on the road and he pulled up beside your woman, so that maybe they were on the mainland anyway.
Well, that's what
Maybe we'll never know.
We'll
Some
never
things
know.
We're just not meant to know.
Exactly.
Surely somebody has worked out where in Ireland that island is.
Well,
Like looking at the overhead shots, I know they're obviously it's meant to be like a fictional island,
oh, that,
but
that
somebody
island?
has probably looked at those overhead shots because people do it all the fucking time online, and worked out exactly where they are. Like.
Well, I think they've said where that island is. I don't have it to hand here, but I think.
Oh yeah, of course they have because people go to that house all the time
Well, the house isn't on that island. The island is just
right.
for the cover, for the
for the overhead shots.
yeah,
So,
for the start,
somebody worked
yeah,
out that is
for the
a
title
picture.
sequence. Mrs. Doyle once again comes out. Now we're up to on our I go on count. We're up to 29.
She didn't say it. Did
She didn't, and we'll find out here. Again, she doesn't actually say the words "I go on," and she's actually pushing tea, or in this case,
This cake.
cake, which has cocaine in it, of course. I prefer all my bakery products to have lined with some sort of class A narcotic. But of course, she means raisins. It's a bit weird that she gets those two mixed up, of course.
I think we've all got those two mixed up in our thing.
Yeah.
One of the times I've snorted a line of raisins.
So instead of her saying "I go on," she's coming up in really creative ways of her not saying those words. In fact, she says, "Now who's up for tea?" She seems to say that a lot more often. Like that should have been her catchphrase.
Yeah, it's kind of making me wonder like how I go on became her catchphrase because
Well-
so far she's only said it in pretty much one episode.
No, what 4? But
Well, yeah, but the bulk of
25
it was in
in
one episode.
yeah,
That's
25
right.
times in one episode.
Yeah.
Would you like some of her cocaine cake? She didn't even let Ted have the cake then. Just as she finally won him round because it had cinnamon in it. She decided no, she'll be a paragon of virtue.
Would I want cocaine cake? No comment.
Cake.
You can tell me off air. Yeah. Dougal has a very odd appreciation for ecology and ecological subjects because he knows that cliffs disappear by erosion, as we found out in the first episode, and he also knows the exact date of the Ice Age.
There's those kind of lines that make the show for me, is those little subtle lines that just kind of almost like throw away.
Just stupid throwaway again.
Yeah, like from the first episode where the cliff's gone, or the erosion have gone, or they've taken the roads in
Yeah.
because of the bad weather, just things like that. And that's just so kind of surreal. I love it.
That's it. Like they do just throw away like great little gags and
But-
never even think about them anymore. And
What I love about that Ice Age one, Ted's going like, oh, like, why is this date so important? Dougal goes, I don't know, maybe it's the end of the Ice Age. And he goes, no, it's nothing like that. And then he ends up checking through like this little book. And he goes, there you go, end of the Ice Age.
Yeah.
And it confirms it.
but he confirms it. It's
In fact,
very.
it came back to it very quickly, and it was so funny.
It's a ropey source he's using, I think, because
Yeah, it looks like his own diary. Or
yeah.
something.
But we do get a reappearance by Tom.
I said you earlier I didn't really like this episode, and this sort of backs up why. It was too sitcom-y for my liking. I know
It's
Father
good.
Ted is a sitcom, but it sort of avoids most of the tropes of it, and the whole thing with Tom was too sitcom-y for me. It starts out right away with him in the truck, and they're showing him the buttons, and right away you're like, oh well, that's all going to come into play later. You know,
Well-
it was too much of a setup, and it was too obvious.
What we were saying last week, or the week before, about the trope of just digging bigger lie holes, I think this was the same. Like, this button opens the door, and this one shoots the sewage out,
Yeah.
and it's like, right. And everyone in the audience started laughing because they knew he's going to get that wrong.
But the thing with the lie holes, that just sounds weird.
I know it does, doesn't it?
The thing with the lies the other week was that they were going down the traditional sitcom trope, but then they kind of gave it a bit of a curveball with it, in that it didn't go the way that a normal sitcom would. You know, they kind of just backtracked on it and all, and went, that doesn't matter because they didn't get what he wanted out of it in the end. Whereas this, it was like they set it up for this traditional sitcom trope, and then they followed through with it as well later.
Yeah,
And that annoyed me a bit.
When you saw the red button, you knew that somebody was going to get sprayed.
Yeah.
What Vince has said doesn't really annoy me. What annoyed me, and this is kind of standard for all sitcoms, is whenever the gunk was coming out of the machine, out of the truck, why don't they just move?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like it's so many of those things, and it didn't feel like they were parodying it or anything. It just felt like
Too standard. But is that your only complaint with it? Because
that's the thing. The whole episode felt like that to me. Everything about it. It was like, every sitcom does a fucking holiday episode or whatever, and they've done that, and then it's just, I don't know. Everything just seemed weird, and a lot of it felt forced as well. A lot of the awkward situations, even though I laughed at them initially, they did feel quite forced eventually.
I don't know if I'd agree, because yes, they do go on holiday, which, as you say, there's always an episode to tick off where the clan goes on holiday, the gang goes on holiday. But this one was taking the absolute piss because, okay, they were having a shit holiday, but they're having a shit holiday because there were just fucking nothing to do.
That was very Father Ted, I think, to me.
And the character that made it so shit as well was Noel Furlong. We'll get into it a bit. And the ugly naked guy. Ugly naked guy is a sort of sitcom 90s trope, isn't it?
That was my favourite part of the whole show. Just that
naked man.
I just seen it. But I just really like the fact that every time Ted has an interaction with him, it just cuts to Ted with the police again every time, and it's just so perfect the way they did it. That's probably my favourite part of the episodes.
You have to feel for Ted because.
But this is the thing: more sitcom tropes could have all been easily solved if he had just explained what was happening. And the guy the guy was being irrational. So that's again sitcom trope. Instead of just accepting the guy's apology and accepting what happened, he took it further than it had to go.
There's such things as genres in music.
Yeah.
And if you play 3 chords in a punk song, you're going to play a punk song. You know.
But it's just Father Ted to me. I felt like it's done a good job for the whole thing, avoiding these sort of just stereotypes, if you will, for sitcoms.
Well, I'd say because it's the second series, they probably had a bit of a budget injection, so they just want to sort of expand it a bit because there's considerably more characters in the episode than we've seen before. Like there's the ugly naked guy and his wife, the policeman, Noel Furlong and his crew. And then Jack's entourage when he gets the yacht at the end.
That was it. There were a lot of things that still feel like Father Ted, but it felt like it veered too much towards sitcom.
Well, I mean, I think it earned it though because like I said, I laughed about 15 times during this episode, which I don't do during.
See, I didn't really laugh too much in it.
You don't laugh at.
I laughed at the Ice Age. No, Furlong, Graham Norton, whatever the fuck you call him. I think he did his job in that he actually annoyed me. I actually got annoyed by him.
Exactly, he
and I think he did do a really good job at that. But I don't know if that was necessarily him playing the character well or just him being Graham Norton. So.
Well, you didn't know who he was then at the time. Like, do you remember?
I think at that time he had his TV show, did he not?
I don't think so.
Yeah, sure he did, or maybe I'd seen it when it was a rerun on. And
the TV show. So he had this show Graham Norton on Channel 4. Considering what he's doing now, which is the BBC's face of Eurovision. It was a very, very seedy show that he was presenting. A very seedy show. I'm surprised he can get onto BBC One television now.
Like he was whopping dildos out of his desk every week.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't watching that as a child.
And having live webcams of somebody who can pee on command, it was very seedy. And now look what he's gone on to.
I don't remember that show at all.
Really?
It was on Friday nights, and when when you're 13, 14, you couldn't do anything on Friday nights. So all you had was Channel 4 TV.
Well, I mean, he was active. He started in about 1992. What Father Ted season 2 is about 95.
Yeah, so it would have been after this. It probably this. It sort of put him into sort of superstardom.
Sort of catapulted him.
I would argue that this is Father Ted's the last time Graham Norton was funny.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
controversial statement.
I cannot have him as a talk show host.
Don't really watch it, but I know a lot of people do like it because he sort of reformatted it, didn't he, by having all the guests out on the sofa at once so they can actually talk to each other.
Yeah, it's quite good in that he doesn't just sit there and go, so tell me about your movie, and tell me about this. He just sits there and he shoots the shit with him, so to speak. He actually just talks big as balls with him and gets embarrassing stories out of people and all, and it makes celebrities feel more real. Instead of sitting Michael Parkinson sitting down and being talking to Muhammad Ali, being so tell me about that time you got punched in the jaw.
The Muhammad Ali Michael Parkinson interview is considered one of the greatest
interviews
of all time.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Has anyone ever been on a holiday in a caravan?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Well, it was like the first caravan they went to, for a start.
The big nice one?
Yeah, the ugly naked guys one. It was like that.
See, that would be quite pleasant.
But it was shitter than that. It was same length, but it was shit on the inside. It was it was falling apart and there was no TV, there was nothing in it.
Well, you're not supposed to have TV. You're a caravan holiday. You're supposed to be in the great
I have a
outdoors.
TV and a car.
That's the point of the holiday, is to actually get away from
Not when you're a
21st century.
child.
You know, when you're a child, even better, and get the whole outdoors, the great outdoors for you. What about you, Colin? Have you ever been in a caravan?
I've been in a caravan.
Have you been in one?
I have stayed a night in a caravan, maybe 2 nights in a caravan, but for me it's one step up from camping, and I loathe camping.
It's more than one step up from camping, because you're not sleeping on the floor. You're sleeping in an enclosed space.
In a closed space in a pull-out bed.
That wobbles.
Yeah, but, you know, that's part of the charm. It makes you appreciate your, you know, IKEA furniture that wee bit more.
No, I'll be in a hotel down the road, thank you.
Yeah. Are you the kind of person that goes to a festival and stays in a apart hotel down the road, are you?
I've never camped at a festival, and nor will I.
Nor will you?
It's horrible.
I don't mind camping. I don't know. I don't mind the great outdoors. I have been on a caravan holiday once when I was like 10 or something, Bundoran, and we just went down to the beach every day, and
Oh,
had a
if,
great
the,
time.
if the weather's good, great, you're out and about, you're going down to the beach, you're playing football, you're barbecuing, but if it's pissing down, you're stuck in town.
But that's
To
every
be fair, I do like
tin hut.
I do like the rain beating down on a caravan.
Is it not more?
It's quite relaxing trying to sleep in it.
It's romantic.
Yeah.
Is it not more tinny and
beating down on your way.
Machine gun.
yeah?
If it's a good steady flow of rain, like it's fine. If it's just like sitting there sporadic, like there's a tree above you or something and it's breaking
Oh,
up
yeah.
the rain, then that's annoying.
That's what Chinese water torture is. Like
Torture?
just torture. Just the constant dripping, just every so
Yeah.
often, because you know it's coming, and then the next one comes. Ah, I knew I was going to do that.
Because you get 2 drips.
I don't think Board Falcha would be too happy with Father Ted's guidebook. He came up with 2 suggestions of what to do. We've already mentioned St. Kevin's Stump, which appears just to be a tree stump.
Yeah.
It's quite an impressive tree stump, to be fair.
Quite large.
Yeah.
And well, it's on its own, which means it would have been a fairy tree, which means anyone who cut that tree down would have had their arms or legs broken or something. You're cursed whenever you cut down a fairy tree. You know that, don't you?
A fairy tree.
Is your idea of a curse that you break your arms and legs?
You're pretty accursed if you've broken your limbs.
Well, that's just really unlucky.
Well, that's the curse.
Would a curse not be like you? I don't know.
Do you not hear about these curses? The fairy trees and the fairy rings and stuff?
Sounds like very violent fairies to me.
Yeah. This is Irish folklore. It's like, if you know
They
the...
just curse you so you'll never be successful or something.
Well, a fairy
Maybe
tree...
a joke.
Well, that's a different one.
I haven't heard of these curses or indeed of fairy trees.
Well, the fairy tree is a tree that's sort of sitting like in the middle of a field for no apparent reason. It's the only tree there. So this sort of mythology grew up around these fairy trees and why they're sort of...
Like a magic tree.
Yeah, and if you cut it down, you're supposed to be cursed. And the other one is the fairy ring. Now, Christy Burr sang about fairy rings. That's if it's a natural ring of trees, like almost a perfect circle. If you get caught inside, you can't find your way out, and that's a curse. But
Like the giant's ring.
with the giant's ring, what's that?
Have you not been in the giant's ring?
Or is that up in Cave Hill or something?
No, it's like sort of by my way. Do you know where it is?
Yeah, I've been up the giant's ring.
But
So
it's
what
meant
is
to
it?
be. It's just I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It's just a big field,
Right.
but there's like a hill that just goes up and like down, like right away. It's like a wee tiny hill all the way around it. So it's like almost, I don't know. It's like a reverse moat. Instead of being dug
So-
down, it's dug up.
It's quite a nice.
And then there's like
nice
some
place to go for a
rocks in the
walk.
middle of it, yeah. And the whole idea is that you walk around it 3 times, and then there's a fairy tree, and you have to go and hug the fairy tree, and then you're fucking blessed.
Yeah, I see. So whoever's cut
In
down
other words,
some-
people want you to hug this big dirty tree. The more and more you say giant's ring, the more and more it's sounding pervy.
we'll stop talking about it then.
Yeah, please.
But the other one was the Magic Road, and we saw the effects of that when Jack was on his wheelchair.
That's another one of the parts of this episode I like, because it's very, again, Father Ted. It's just surreal, stupid, and it's just kind of, it's there, not explained, and it just happens, and it's over and done with.
Well, there's a Magic Road in Oma that has similar effects. There is
There's one at Spelgadam as well.
Where?
Spelgadam.
down your way. The
Uh,
Spelgadam.
Sounds
Yeah.
like somebody's just made up.
You don't hear Spelgadam? That's where all the water comes from.
What water?
Well, it's water that we're drinking. It
Oh,
goes from there, gets filtered, and
a dam named Spelaga.
yeah.
I've never heard of it, no.
It's I kind of know how to get to it, but I couldn't tell you where it is.
Oh,
Road
okay.
trip.
Yeah,
it's,
road trip.
it's down towards kind of Newry, Newcastle.
And that provides the whole of the north, does it?
I'm not. Couldn't tell you exactly,
Right.
but yeah, it does a lot.
Oh, okay, so what happens over there then?
Water
They're-
flows.
Yeah, it's similar to the Magic Road in Father Ted, that things, like water flows backwards and
So,
things flow up it.
well, what are we causing that then? Because I've been in a car, I've done it myself, like, I've been in a car where you brake at the bottom of the road, at the bottom of the hill, and it does seem to start moving forward for a good, like, at least 6 inches, like.
What, you mean back up the hill?
Yeah. It might be, so, like, it is at the sort of bottom of the groove of a hill, so it might be just the back wheels are moving forward, which pushes in the front wheels forward or something, but it is happening, like.
I did it with my car at Spelgadan.
Right, and
You're right.
so there is a magic
Freaky.
road. It is. So come on. So let's go to the magic road then. Next time we're
I
out.
remember at the time researching it, why it happened, and it was so long ago now I can't remember why what the reason was.
Oh,
Something to do with gravitational pull or
Yeah.
moon or magic.
We'll get Mulder and Scully on the case. I reckon there is a TV show about paranormal activity within Ireland. I think we need to get on the case with this, Colin. Come on.
Danny Dyer's Paranormal Activity.
I'd watch it.
Fucking Magic Road.
Fucking hell. But this episode, of course, there's a classic line. A line that sort of, again, survived way beyond anything else. Like, the impact, like, everyone loves that line when I'm doing really Dougal stuff, like in the interactive comedy stuff. All I have to do is just say far away, and if I just say it right, the whole place will go into stitches, just because that line is so ingrained in people's heads, like.
Even this week on Facebook, I seen somebody commenting with that line. I can't remember what the picture was about or anything, but somebody referencing Father Ted with that line.
Was that alligator thing? The alligator in the golf course?
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah, that alligator's massive, by the way.
Aye.
I thought alligators were only about the size of this table,
Thanks.
but
It's the little plastic cows that he has in his hand as well, and the look he does in his face as he's going far away.
Yeah.
Like they are really far away. And then just Dougal not getting it.
yeah, he does look very confused when he's trying to look out the window and see the ones that are far away, but it's not quite computing.
Moment of just admitting defeat, just
What?
slamming them down and giving up on them.
I want to know what the situation was that got into that conversation.
Because that's what cracked me up as well, because Dougal must have said words to the effect of, look how small those cows are.
Yeah. Who let the cows into the caravan? What cows? Those ones there.
Which reminds me of, well, it came out later, but Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights, and the two bouncers just stand at the door, and all of a sudden these midgets all start getting out of a bus, and they're just staring, trying to work out like if they're tiny or really far away. But it's like typical Father Ted humour. It's just it cuts right into the middle of something. It doesn't like set up the joke or anything. It just cuts into it.
Well, it's just, you have to know what Dougal is about to know what that joke is about, because that if you just came straight into that, you'd be like, what's he chatting about? Why does he need to be told that?
Yeah,
you
we
have to
threw
know
up it.
Dougal's sort of mental capacity for that to work, I think.
Yeah, but I think even if you just came into this episode, like, any of the episodes are quite good because they can be watched standalone and you can get it all right away. You know, you can work out what the characters are like from beginning.
Yeah, so they do. I have noticed they are setting up every script that way. They're formatting every script just to show a quick, brief glimpse of whatever they need to show in that episode. So if Jack is going to be particularly annoying this week, it'll do something annoying in that episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely true.
If you had to do a top 5 lines with Father Ted, that those are small, those are far away, is definitely in there.
Yeah, definitely. It wasn't actually my first choice for line of the show
Oh,
because there's cocaine in it was, but then realised, oh shit, this episode's in.
no, can we do line of the show now, or do you want
Right,
to
okay,
wait
yeah. What's your, yeah.
Well, I'm going to assume yours is far away, is it, Colin?
I think if you had to pick a classic one from that, maybe not my favourite, but it's certainly the most memorable.
I don't think that line is that good. I took personally I think it's funny, but I don't think it's that good.
It's a comedy.
My favourite line, just because of how random and out of nowhere it comes, it's just Father Jack sitting there talking to Ted, and he goes, "Are those my feet?" And he's just staring at his feet. That got me perfectly.
That one,
That's what made me laugh the most because it was just so stupid, and it just, I don't know, it's just Jack to a T. And I
Well, Jack just, it didn't come out of nowhere because Jack just started saying just random questions.
started saying random things, but it was just it was fine, like not knowing where he was or who Ted was, but then the doubt his own feet is what got me.
Well, that bit was supposed to be that Jack was sobering up or something.
Yeah, I think so.
And he just hadn't any drink. So what they do to put to silence him, just put a box over his head. the night
They're
box.
treating him like a horse.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you put like a blanket over a horse's head, it'll just go, "Oh, it's nighttime, bed."
Well, actually, when it went on the show today, it reminded me of Danny the Champion of the World. Do you remember that?
No.
The way they, I don't know why this stuck with me, but when I read it, the way they capture chickens They put a little seed in a little hat for the chicken. The chicken goes in to get it, and then the hat sticks to its face, and then it doesn't know what to do. It's completely, as far as it's concerned, it's night time and it can't do anything.
Yeah.
So all they have to do then is just pick them all up. That's what that reminded me of for some reason. So, but why don't they do that all the time? Why do they bother letting Jack out of that little box?
Yeah, exactly. Like, if they have to get him into his wheelchair or anything, you see the struggle to have to just put the box on his head.
Yeah. And they did remember to bring that, because they didn't remember to bring much else on the holiday, because that was a very full trailer of stuff they were going to...
But no board games.
No board game. Well, we'll go through some of the board games, because we had quite a significant additions to the board games rooms today. So, Dougal was playing with a magnetic fish toy at the very start.
I used to have that, brilliant game.
Yeah.
So what do you have to do? I was familiar with it, but I didn't know, never played it or anything like.
It's not overly complicated. Circular, like almost like a plate with fish on it, and it's the circle of the plate revolves, and you have to try and the fish's mouths open and close.
Right.
I think. I remember mine was just permanently open, and you had a wee like magnet on the end of a fishing line, and you try and put it in the fish's mouth to pick them up.
Right. Okay.
I do like the Ted has a wee go on that as well.
He had in the episode.
Isn't that whenever Dougal goes to look at someone or do something, and you see Ted just casually picking it up and having to go himself, which I think is just funny because he's considerably older, more mature, and he's playing with a child's game.
Did you not bring in about 40 board games the other day?
No, but they're like proper board games that require some level of thought. But this kind of game is like something you can imagine a 5-year-old playing, like Dougal.
Well, I was about to say, but sure, you would just sit down and start picking up, because it would be just mindless sort of.
Just there, just something to do.
Yeah, it'd be the same as picking up Candy Crush Saga. Like, it's at least that there is some sort of definite target and definite objective there, whereas Candy Crush Saga just looks like you tap colours and lots of colours disappear, and I can't figure out what's supposed to be going on.
I've seen it, but I've never played it. It looked a bit crap.
It does. It looks awful. I mean, I was commuting in London, and half the train would be playing Candy Crush on their iPads and stuff, and I'd be sitting behind them and like, what the fuck are they actually doing with this?
What also put me off Candy Crush Saga is it's called a saga, which isn't a good positive word.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a saga, isn't it?
Well, when you think about it, I think of the word saga as being quite epic. You got Star Wars, the saga begins. And then you got Candy Crush Saga. It's like,
well, people are complaining.
It doesn't really have the same effect, does it?
Well, people are complaining that level 98 or something is impossibly difficult. So
fucking is.
Oh, so you have played it?
Yeah, I've played it.
So you complain about Ted picking up a little fishing rod, and you play Candy Crush Saga?
Candy Crush is difficult.
Well, we'll not get into that.
The magnetic fish game takes nerves of steel and a steady hand.
You need the hand of a surgeon to play that game. But in the trailer, they had foosball, which we haven't actually seen them play yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They brought it out and shoved it in.
I said foosball, I'm sort of angry at myself. Table football. Where did this word foosball come from?
It's a German word for football.
It probably came from Friends, which you also referenced with Ugly Naked Guy earlier on.
I was just thinking that actually, just at that moment. I was like, oh, that's from Friends as well, isn't it?
Which is what the Americans call table football.
Yeah.
What do we have over here? Subbuteo? Is that it? Yeah.
Did you ever play that?
That's Colin's age, yeah.
I had one dreadful game of that.
We got it for Christmas and just couldn't figure out how to work it, and within about 2 days all the pieces have gone missing, so or they got stewed on, but
we used to do you remember athletic stores?
Yes.
In the city centre, and they used to have a whole
the sides are still there.
The sides?
The sides.
They used to have a whole big wall just with Subbuteo teams.
Just collected?
All the different Premier League clubs and international teams and so on. I had Man United.
We have surfboard as well. Can you imagine Ted or Dougal going surfing?
No, it was for Jack.
Oh yeah,
he had his rubber ring on.
Yeah, he did have his rubber ring on.
Floaties and stuff.
And then of course they had Scrabble and the travel Scrabble for when they're travelling, and the normal Scrabble for when they arrive. Except Dougal forgot to bring it with him. Of course I'm a genius at Scrabble, and you can challenge me if you want, but you'll.
Have you got Scrabble here?
I don't have the board game. I've got it on my phone. It is something I do want to get though. A game of Scrabble,
I want to get a game.
Some intellectual dinner party piece, so I can throw down my 7-letter words with 50 points and everything. And
yeah, good on countdown as well then.
Yeah, but I get a bit distracted by Rachel. But we got another appearance from Dougal's binoculars when he saw this Serengeti wild wildebeest on their migration. This is like we mentioned this before. This is like a sort of cutaway gag that Father Ted does as well. So they're pretty early on board with that as well.
That probably stems from Monty Python.
I did think it was a Python-esque, and I was actually thinking it was a bit. What's that show from the 80s? Young Ones.
Yes,
yeah.
it's very like that.
I think maybe it was more directly influenced by young ones, I would have thought. I mean, we were discussing how many different types of humour that Father Ted actually, hits upon, and like they have so many, which is why I think it works, because there's so many levels of humour within it, and it, as you say, for the large part, it does sort of avoid sitcom cliche as well, and sitcom tropes. Yeah, so we'll get to the actual caravan then. They come back after a day out to the Rock, and Father Noel Furlong is sitting waiting for them. He's been double booked on their timeshare.
Furlong and his gang.
Yeah, he was a youth volunteer group. It'd be a horrible experience to have to sit for. How long do you think they're volunteering for?
However it is too long.
Yeah,
Father Noel.
Father Noel, and he just drives people off the wall because you cannot stop talking. And you have met people like that. They're just bundles of energy, and you just don't know how to switch them off. It must be exhausting being like that. It's like they're always on. They're always trying to be the funny one, or trying to be the big get everyone involved one, or. And it's like, God, I'm getting tired just watching,
Yeah, I think he probably what killed the episode for me, to be honest. Like, you all said Father Stone killed the episode for you, but I liked that episode. Whereas with him, he kind of killed it for me, and he wasn't even in it that long.
It wasn't as big an impact in the actual episode as I thought it would be. It's only like the last 5 minutes.
I thought he was in it a lot more.
Yeah,
from what I remembered, but no, apparently not.
But that just shows how impactful he was, and then he got to return then in season 3, and we'll come to that as well.
Is he just in 2 episodes of the whole?
I think so. Yeah, he might. I'm trying to think because he may show up on.
Don't know if he appears anymore. I can only think of 2 instances where he appears, and that's one of them there, and then the one in season 3.
Well, he meets his demise in the season 3 episode. Of course, we'll get to that when we cover it. But forced funs. People who try to force fun on you, they're the most annoying people in the world, aren't they? I remember we were at a party one night in this guy's house, and we'd been doing a sort of finished the show, and we were just having an after cast party, and he insisted on posing every picture, oh, quick, everyone carry such and such across their arms so we can make it look like they're flying, and now we're getting a human pyramid, and now I was like, Jesus Christ, I'm just trying to have a chat here. And
that's whenever I had a job, I've just recently left. There used to be like a thing called Wig Wednesday. Right. Not every Wednesday. That would be torture, but now and again you had to bring in a funny wig to work on Wednesdays for charity.
Oh yeah, that old chestnut.
Or fancy dress Friday, things like that. It's just forced fun, trying to make people do stupid things just so we can all have a laugh.
Yeah, to raise morale, and I hated that in sort of corporate world when I had my brief visitation to it. It's like all these little, and it'll be great, and we'll all raise loads of money for charity, and that gives you an excuse just to have to endure the shittest thing. But it did at least get you off the phones or get you off whatever you were supposed to be doing.
I went and did charity work recently with work because they were like, oh, it's going to be fun. I went because I heard it was free pizza. So that was why I went.
Were you the charity?
Yeah. I just heard it's going to be free pizza every 2 hours. We're going to get pizza, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. Children in need must be nightmares for you.
Did you get the pizza?
It's for sports relief.
Sports relief, was it?
Yeah. It's when the answer phone. I did.
Did you do any sport?
No. We answered about free calls.
But you got relief.
Did you do any comic relief stuff? I think you have, haven't you, before? Children in need or something?
Yeah, I've done charity gigs. Done quite a few charity gigs over the years.
As part of your portrait. Oh, sorry, we didn't plug your portrait today. So, how's your portrait going?
It's too late now.
We'll get at the end of the episode. So. Yeah, you always get people just want to drive the fun, and it's like, when people are around and having a good time, the conversation will flow organically, and people will know what stuff to do, and if everyone's bored, you'll find something just to entertain yourselves. But if somebody's always trying to drive it, then they become the most annoying person. Then you just want to punch them in the face.
Well, Noel Furlong is that type.
Yeah.
To play the guitar, to dance, to sing, to do everything. He just obviously grates on Ted and grates on the viewer as well.
And nobody could do anything without him commenting.
Yes. And Vince Kettle knows what I'm talking about.
But 11.
Yeah.
Huh?
And he sends Dougal mad. It's the first time Dougal's ever got annoyed by a character as well, I think, isn't it? He's so passive though. For all Dougal, like that's the worst.
What was
the most negative thing he has to say about somebody?
What was he even said?
Ted, I'm going mad.
Oh yeah.
He raised his head from a parapet of just sleeping bodies, because there's about 20 of them in this tiny little 4 foot by 4 foot caravan, and he just raised his head. Ted, I'm going mad.
They could have taken the box off Father Jack's head and set him on him.
Well, Jack was gone by this stage, of course. Jack had fallen off the cliff.
At the Magic Road.
Under Dougal's negligent care. If only Barty Dunn had met him. Barty Dunn would have a great time with him.
God.
Barty Dunn was the laughing priest who couldn't actually get any words out.
Oh, yeah.
They would have a great time.
I do think that's something to do well when they exaggerate a character. They do get their intended effect from him.
Yeah, so they just blow everything up to outrageous proportions.
Like, Father Stone was mind-numbingly boring. He's just mind-numbingly annoying. And then the guy laughing Barty Dunn is just a dick.
No, he's alright. I like him.
Guy last week grieving. Just need a slap. That's all I really got on that. Just, but when they do it, they all have the desired effect of they are quite draining, even to the viewers.
No, well, imagine how Ted feels.
Bloody sitcoms with their crazy characters.
Yeah.
There's the world coming to.
Oh, but like they do them well enough that they're only ever in it for, well, apart from Father Stone has a whole episode, but the rest are usually just there long enough that you get annoyed by them and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Except
no, you done your little mother, you filthy little bastard.
What's your favourite humming noise? The boring or?
Oh yes, the one with a really boring voice. Yeah. Oh, that's a different one again. So it was lots of very outrageous comedy characters come up. Vince, you're going to have a hard time going through this podcast for us.
Why?
Because there's going to be a lot more of these.
Oh no, they don't bother me too much. I think he just killed it for me because he was in it. Maybe he kind of overstayed his welcome a little bit too much for me in the episode.
Well, he was, like I said, he was only in for 5 minutes.
I know, but that's why it was 5 minutes too long.
And it didn't quite seem to annoy the campers as much as we will see him the next time. The next time they're at their wit's end, like.
Yeah, but I think they've only...
They seem a bit more involved in what they're doing, so when he gets the guitar out, or when he's, livens up the music, with the big shaking hands, everyone's already in within seconds, like.
Yeah.
And speaking of the music, did you recognise any of the songs?
No. Oh, no. I did recognise the film, but I can't remember the names of it.
Well, there was, I think, now...
Hole of the Moon, was that one?
The Hole of the Moon was one of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Too far. That was a great song.
I didn't actually read that, I just seen you've written down.
I've written it down. Dirty Old Town was the last one he came in for, which is of course made famous by the Pogues. Do you know what city that's about? Bit of pop quiz hot shot.
I would probably guess Dublin.
It's not actually. I thought it might have been about Belfast at one point because he talks about the gasworks wall, which of course about 50 yards down this road there's a gasworks by the old canal. But it's not a canal, it's a river. It's actually Salford. It was Kirsten McCall's father who wrote that song. And then the song they're singing at the start, is there a song called Ebony and Ivory?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is quite ironic because it's two of the whitest men in show business.
Well, one of them. What stage of Michael's career was it?
White.
No, I think he was still black then. It was 80s.
Oh, he's loved
early 80s though, or bad era 80s.
It was. I don't know. Ebony and Ivory lived together and side by side on perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard.
I always
I've never heard that song before.
That with like some musicians or comedians or actors, whatever, you can determine what stage of their career they're at by like their personality or how they're dressing. Whereas Michael Jackson's, was he black or was he white?
Yeah, what stage was cosmetic surgery?
Yeah. Was he a child or was he diddling?
We can cut that again.
Don't worry, I've got a lot of stuff on here. We've got the filtration process down. It's grand.
It's busy as anytime I talk.
Well, when Ted and Dougal decide to get out of the caravan, then they run into Ugly Naked Guy again. Well, they try to avoid him by hiding in a cubicle.
I think he's quite handsome.
Well, we haven't
he's
really...
not really that ugly, I just wanted to say that, 'cause it is quite catchy, that word, that name, isn't it?
To be fair, we haven't actually mentioned any of the times they've encountered him.
Well, I was about to say, when they climbed over the rock, and that was near St. Kevin's stump.
You forgot the first time.
The first time was when you already mentioned they were in the caravan.
Well, they were in the caravan, and then sitting there all getting relaxing and chillaxing, all cool, and all of a sudden, this naked man walks out, drying his hair, and just sits down beside them, and nobody notices. Well, they notice, but he doesn't notice for a good while. And then obviously police.
The next thing he sees the police show up, yeah. Well, him and his wife were both in the shower together, and they do seem like they're on a bit of a dirty holiday, so you can imagine he's very post-coital at that moment. So what sort of status do you think he was in?
Wait, what do you mean?
I think you know what I mean.
That's not an expression I expected to hear in the Father Noel.
Hey, you give me naked, and this is where I'm going to go. But the third and final time, the final straw, was when he was in the toilet cubicle, and unfortunately Mrs. Ugly Naked Guy was
Ugly Naked Guy
was using the said toilet facilities. So the man decided he'd had enough and he wasn't going to go to the police involved, he was just going straight to source. So he jumped on Ted and Dougal's bonnet in his towel again and decided to stay there. Quite determined he was, though, wasn't he?
He was clinging on to the wiper blades, I believe.
Yeah. It's quite. I've done that before as a stupid kid. Jump on top of a car while it's moving.
But wearing a towel.
Well, not wearing a towel. I was fully clothed at the time. I probably shouldn't have been wearing jeans actually because the button thingies would probably scratch the car. But never mind.
I just on a similar subject, I tried to like a American detective sliding across the bonnet of the car.
Yeah.
I tried to do that one day, but apparently those cars and those TV shows are all waxed, so you just kind of glide across it. I just hit mine, left a dent in it.
Your own car as well?
Yeah, it was my own car too.
What was
a good thing?
Were you in a celebratory mood or something, or?
I was trying to show off, I think, for somebody.
Trying to impress
slide across this bonnet.
Maybe wore like say work trousers or something that might have worked.
Yeah, you couldn't do it in cords because too much traction there.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna go outside and do some tests in your car, Mac. I get some trousers.
Right, okay. I've got numerous ones. I've got nice 3/4 here. Probably work quite well.
I got jeans. Put some trousers on Colin. We'll see who slides the furthest.
Yeah, cool. Well, I don't know what it'd be like to be naked though. Like our ugly naked guy was. Like, I'd imagine we know he was cold because
his doll came on.
But I'd imagine it's very uncomfortable though. When he's lying face down.
Yeah.
And eventually Ted decides to come to a stop, and that's the one moment where he actually falls off and falls in a heap.
Yeah.
It still doesn't stop him getting to the window and puncturing the tyres of the car.
I do like their suggestion on how they're going to get out of this situation, which is just say we didn't see him.
Well, I mean, if you just tried that, if you genuinely did just try and say, just play as dumb as you can, you'd probably just frustrate the guy into just, right, you're not worth it, I'm going home.
Knocking you out or slicing your tyres.
Well, you're at the worst possible situation you could be in anyway.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily
it's not going to get any worse, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's not necessarily a bad suggestion. But yeah, he punctures their tyres, so now they're stranded. And it comes full circle, as you say, when Tom comes back with his series truck. And as you say, he sprays them all over with his sewage and gets them back to Craggy Island to round off what was a terrible, terrible holiday. Have you had any holidays that were comparably terrible? Within caravans?
Vince is bound to have.
Every trip I've ever had. Terrible. There's always an argument or something. When you get like family enclosed in a caravan or even like a hotel and all, there's always an argument.
Well, I think that's what they were trying to say. It's like holidays are actually more fucking bother than they're worth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because you take yourself completely out of your routine. You're sticking everyone in a very false situation where they don't have much to do, and let's have the sparks fly. If somebody's determined, right, this is my holiday, we're going to relax, damn it, we're going to relax. And
yeah, there's always someone who's like, everyone's going to fucking enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
And I think that's what they're trying to portray. Like, sometimes you need a holiday to get over your holiday. Like, it's
yeah.
I was about to say it's probably worse if you're working, 48 weeks of the year and you get your 1 week holiday. I've never been that fully employed, so I wouldn't know. But perhaps you could enlighten us, Colin, on what that's like.
Well, I was in Spain last week. Sorry, 2 weeks ago now, just for 3 nights, 4 days, with some friends, and it was chaos. Just constant partying.
Just drinking from get-go, was it?
Yeah, down on the beach, drinking and all this, and I got home and I needed like a few days just on my own in the quiet, just to kind of recover from
just to get
that.
the dopamine flowing again in your head that's been all drained out from 4 days.
It wasn't a bad holiday. It was brilliant crack and all that. It just I think it was the alcohol just getting older.
Yeah,
I suppose the closest I had to bad holiday was when I went to New York and the hurricane hit.
Oh really? So what, were you sort of bound into your hotel room or something, or
stuck in the hotel room? Yeah, for 2 extra.
Was
days.
this about 2 years ago? Was it?
This was 2012.
Right. Yeah.
When Hurricane Sandy.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Hurricane Sandy hit New York, so that was. It wasn't a bad. That's in the sense of like the Father Ted, where
it's miserable, like, yeah, but
there was people annoying. It was just you couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything because it was a hurricane.
And it was the entire time you were there, yeah.
No, the first 2 days were okay.
I say, yeah, I went out in the hurricane. You could have went anywhere, really.
And you probably would.
Took you a second to get that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you wouldn't know where you ended up. But like a bonus holiday, like a surprise holiday. Yeah, no, that'd be. You must have been worried about getting back then, because surely they wouldn't have the airports.
No, everything was closed on the eastern seaboard. My concern at that time, I don't want to go into too much detail because it's about Father Ted, but my concern was getting back because I had a big show that weekend supporting John Cooper Clarke.
Oh, okay, so like near the peak of your career as a poet, like?
Yeah.
So fun, yeah.
And that was, I've been thinking about that. I'm working so hard to get to that point, and I was like, shit, I'm not going to be able to get back in time, but thankfully the day before the gig,
they managed to get back home, did they?
Got a flight back home, but I was still jet lagged and still a bit confused. And
oh shit! So you weren't at sort of at peak performance, like, or you weren't at match fit, like, or?
It was okay, but it wasn't. I could have done better.
Well, I'm sure you can do it again now. You had loads of time. You had all the time in the world.
Indeed, yeah. Got my own dressing room though. It was like fucking big time now.
But yeah, I think like we can wrap it up there then. So let's have thoughts on the episode overall. Then, what would you think of Hell season 2 episode 1? We'll start with Vince. Well, Vince is sort of summed up his position, but can you?
Yeah, I guess thinking back on it, there was more moments in it that I liked, but still not one of my favourites.
So it wouldn't be in your top 5 then?
Maybe in top 5, and I've never really been a big fan of the far away line either.
How can you not be a big fan of that? That's like one of the most defining lines of the show. Like,
it's funny, like, but I don't think it's the best line.
What was it?
Well, I need to go through the rest of it. But so far it has been, are those my feet?
See, that looks like that's something I would expect to see in a lesser sitcom.
See, I like the absurdity of that.
Yeah.
I like really absurd sort of comedy.
Well, what do you think, Colin?
I really like that episode.
Yeah.
Contrary to what Vince was saying, I do like the small faraway line, and I think it was a brilliant start to the second series.
It probably was, yeah.
They're getting out and about. They're not just staying in the parochial house.
Yeah, they're not just going to the routine or just hitting the same rituals again. So, like you mentioned earlier, that every sitcom goes away somewhere. I think from where they were coming from, like, so they were the biggest hit of the last year, and now they had to come back to just go back in to do the same. This, yeah, as you say, have priests visit the island and they have to deal with them. I think that would have just been too routine, so they had to come back with something bigger, I think.
Yeah, but is this season the one with Speed?
No.
That's season 3, isn't it?
Yeah.
But like, that to me is the ultimate Father Ted episode, and I think that managed to get outside of the house without hitting like any sitcom tropes. To me, it managed to be a really good parody and a very good Father Ted episode without being enclosed to the house.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Speed 3
when it gets there.
When we come up to that.
What's up next?
Well, what's up next is season 2, episode 2, and I'm gonna have to check the name of this 1 second. It's not, I don't know the name, but they have the raffle. Where they have the raffle with what was your DJ called?
The car.
DJ Barry O'Dwyer, the Spin Master.
The Spin Master. Yeah.
Or is it Billy O'Dwyer? Sorry,
Billy O'Dwyer.
Spin Master.
But I thought this episode was fantastic. I don't know if it'll go in the top 5 though. It might be a contender, but it says it's a very outside contender for top 5. So I've let you know about this. We're going to try and rank them at the end. But I don't think this will be
all of them in order.
Not all in order, just the top 5. I don't even know if I'll order the top 5, just which of the 5 best episodes.
Nah, there's a bit of order in it.
I might do that just because.
What's life without order?
Well, true. Yeah, that's. Well, I always try to rank things anyway. So I've rated every film I've ever seen on IMDb. So.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you've rated every film you've ever seen and you know the exact order of them now.
Oh no, God no! Jeez. Men in Black #1. No. But yeah, so join us next week. We are now live on iTunes, so give us a rating and review on iTunes. He's doing what in poetry in the next few months, or poetry and writing and song writing?
What am I doing? I'm actually doing a charity gig on the 24th of June, which is a Friday night, in the Maple Leaf Club in East Belfast.
Oh yes, that's near where we used to live, isn't it?
It is very close to it, beside the Park Avenue Hotel. And
don't give too much away.
It's okay, it's not my home address. It's fine.
They can triangulate, you know. No, that's great. So what's charity?
It's going to be a brilliant night of poetry, comedy, music, all sorts. There's so many performers on it that night. I'm kind of like wondering how it's all going to fit in. But it's for a charity called Chronically Fabulous, which helps people with sort of like bone disease and mobility issues and so on.
Right, okay, brilliant, yeah, brilliant.
To head down behind the Park Avenue Hotel, you'll see the sign.
You see the sign,
Canadian flag, I think it is.
That's right, yeah. So I'll try and get down to that. That'd be brilliant, actually. Yeah. How much is it in? Is that been determined yet?
I think it's £7. I get in free.
And who's your +1? Your grateful host. But yeah, no, thank you very much. And Vince, well, thanks very much for coming around as always. What are you playing these days on Flimosh?
Nothing at the minute. Waiting on Mirror's Edge coming out this month.
But thank you very much for listening, and bless you.